Recording in progress.
Sanjay sir, please start.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Sir, you are audible.
Okay. Just hello. This is CS Sanjay Lakhani, Managing Committee Member, Rajkot Branch. I welcome you all on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India on this auspicious day of conducting the VCM by our very well-known speaker on two topics related to export and import. At the same time, the role of chartered accountants over there. First of all, I would like to introduce our today's speaker. Even though the name is very big, Ajit Shah need not an introduction in front of the members who are attending this seminar, like the topic on the topic of import and export. All of us might have got an opportunity earlier also to hear sir, but still let me take this opportunity to introduce Sri Ajit Shah sir. Sir has completed BCom, LLB, Diploma in Export, Import Management, etc., etc. Sir has rich experience of over 35 years in the field of export and import as a trainer and as a consultant. Sir has also been awarded by SME Excellence Award. Sir has also been awarded SME Excellence Award for 2011 by SME Chambers of India, presented by CA Subir Gokan, who was Deputy Governor of Reserve Bank of India at that time. Sir has conducted seminars for so many institutes, including Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies, Vileparle, Chetna Institute of Management, Mumbai, Empire Institute of Management, Lower Parel, India International Trade Center, Ghatkopar, etc., etc. Sir need not require an introduction, and still I have given the introduction for the information of benefit of those members who are getting this opportunity to hear sir for the first time. Without wasting much more of our time, I request sir to take charge of the session. Mike, hand over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to all the professionals. My sincere thanks to CA Sanjay Lakhani sir for nice words about me. I also refer Mr. Advocate Nayan Rawalji, my co-speaker and learned advocate. The topic which is given to me is how to start exports and how to increase exports. I think the selection of the topic is done in such a way where by all the people who has got a little connection with the exports, even at a desired level or on actual level, are very well connected with. What I will do today is that, respecting the collective wisdom of the all professionals as an audience, I will try to put the subject in available time with me in such a way whereby you as a chartered accountant, you as a professionals can render your professional services to your clients in such a way whereby they get the value addition and you get as a professional additional credit, additional mileage and additional advisory role in your profession. So let us start with the basics. What the export we refer to, very simple, which almost all of you know, that is the goods going out of the country and foreign exchange coming into India. When both the activities are taking place, that activity, that business activities, that transaction is generally, is on an average basis of our understanding, is known as exports or international trade. Now, how do we start about this? Friends, if you remember, our forefathers who were in the native place, in a small village in the interior part. On one fine day, they have decided to move from the villages, from the interior part to the cities, or to the metropolitan, or to a big places. And as a result, we have seen the growth in the next generation. Friend, that is the basis of marketing. So I repeat, the basic principle of marketing is it is the size of the market which decides your growth. That means if you go to a bigger market, larger market, then your growth will definitely correspondingly go with that market size. A person who is topmost but in the village will have the revenue and the growth corresponding to the village or village market. This principle is well known and easy for everyone to understand. Then the question comes about the exports. I will say several people have approached me, as well as they must have also approached to you as a chartered accountant. In my profession, and same way it will be also with you, our today the change which has taken place over a period is that our clients have become more demanding. When they have more trust in you, they expect so many things from you beyond your accounting, income tax, and general. So you become the extension of their mind. You become an extension of their organization, and they expect certain kind of a valuable advice. And I think my today's topic, I want to center around that you as a professional, you as a chartered accountant, cross the border of taxation and finance and extend your role by giving them a business advice, giving them a growth strategy, giving them the valuable inputs so that company grow. Very simple it is. It goes beyond doubt that growth of a professional coincide with the growth of the clients. So clients' growth also is of our interest, our concern, and we should make all the attempt to guide them. So what the recipe I wanted to give you is that presently, whatever the files you are having it, whatever the clients you are having it, I'm too sure in these files, in the existing clients, you will have certain exporters, certain importers, those who are doing the export and import activities, and you are looking after their finance and taxation and the other advisory, including GST and all. So they will often come to you for a certain advice related to exports, and you, to the best of your ability, must be providing them the real right advice to them. I'm going to talk about the remaining people. So when a client comes to you and asks for that he wants to go for exports, what should be your reply? How you can accommodate that clients, how you can satisfy the client? That is the base of my today's lecture. Friends, during my profession of over 40 years, several people have approached me with an idea that I want to go for exports. So please guide. What I have observed in more than 50% of the cases that they are just toying with an idea. And please remember, export is not a part-time activity. Export is a good to think, but that is not sufficient. So the first and foremost requirement for anyone when he says he wants to enter into exports, and that is a strong determination. A mere talking will not produce a baby out of it. You really, really have to work very hard. So you as a professional, whenever somebody is approaching to you, you need to check, you need to ascertain and try to derive a conclusion that to what extent he is serious about it, because I will always say that export is not difficult, but export is a different ball game. The way you're doing local business it is not in the same way you will be doing international business. There are several changes, and one of the change in which I will define the difference between domestic and international is the scale, the magnitude, the volume. All these are the different changes which you require to. So when anyone comes to you and asks for that we want to go for exports, you have to, as a successful professional, evaluate how strong he is determined to go for exports. Let's start with a positive note that Mr. A approaches, who is your client, approaches to you and says, sir, I wanted to go for exports. So in that case, what should be the reply of Lakhani sir as a CA when somebody tells? Please remember, there are two types of the exporters are there. One is called manufacturer exporters. As the name suggests, they are having a factory, they manufacture the goods and they export the goods. So for them, selection of the product is not really a challenge. It is predetermined. It is already in existence. Only thing is that they have to decide to go for a bigger market, larger market, far off market, that is the export market. There are traders, there are merchant exporters. Here, the first challenge which comes for the merchant exporter is selection of the goods which they wanted to export. Yes, there is an entire process whereby you have to identify the product very, very properly. The way I am handling is, I will just share with you so that helps you to do the same exercise. There are 5 to 6 criteria I keep in the mind when merchant exporter wanted to select the product for the exports. The first one is family business. Yes, if the father and forefather are in the textile, having an MJ market base, then I will suggest them to go for a textile as an export product, because their domain knowledge, their product knowledge, their context for the textiles, their connection with the mills, their knowledge about the product, development of the product will be of a big asset for them. And so they should go for this particular product, and that is a textile. Second criteria, if they do not have it, then I go by the qualification. If I remember there was one student when he said that, sir, he completed a course with me, and then he said, sir, I wanted to go into exports and I do not have a product. I said, okay, what is your qualification? So he says, I have done my chemicals and I'm chemical engineer. Then I said, please go for the chemicals. All the 4 years, what you have put your efforts in study, that let us capitalize in the business. BPharm students can do much better in the pharmaceutical exports. A software engineer can do very good in the software exports. These are the simple examples for one to understand. The third base, which I always advise, is the finance available. Yes, if your product is such where you have a less finance, then you have to select the product line where the finance requirement is relatively comparatively less. But if finance is not a problem to you for whatever the reason, your own capital or borrowed capital, then you can select the product line where the heavy investment or a high value, high transaction monitor is required. Simple example is that if you have a money as not a problem, then I may suggest you to go for exports of machinery, where every machinery is 88, 90 lakhs of rupees. But if you do not have that kind of a big pocket, deep pocket, then I'll say you go for the parts and components where less amount will be required. The one more criteria can be your own personal choice, some religious objectives, like I also, by religion, do not handle some of the exports product, and many people are doing ethical way of their personal religious choice. To what extent it is right or wrong is a different matter of a discussion, but yes, that also can become one of the yardstick while selecting the product for the purpose of exports. And one more aspect is, which I have come across with several exporters. Exporter wanted to export, but is not sure what product. So what he does, whatever the context he has got overseas, whatever the context he knows the people abroad, he will convey the message. And some people from the overseas suggesting he is an importer, he is a person in other country, and he says, I wanted this. And then you start working on that product, and that is how basically your exports start. I remember many years before, there was a company in Bahrain, in Manama, and he sent a message to one of my clients saying he wanted Kolhapuri chappal. In those days, Kolhapuri chappal was in the fashion, and that is how my client entered into export field, and he has gone and grown to a big extent. Friends, truly speaking, many times the people are asking me that which is a good product to exports. I will say almost all the products are good. Yes, you need to have a little bit analysis to be done. The product of the future generation are always to be preferred as compared to the old or outdated products. Say, for example, today typewriter is not a right product to consider because of its limitation. It is a old part as far as the operation is concerned. So you should select the product which itself is having the scope for it. Once you have identified the product, you have already determined that you want to go for exports, then there is a procedure to be followed, what we call it a registration. Yes, you have to organize a company, which can be proprietorship, partnership. You are all aware about it. So I need not require to say for this. Obtain the PAN card, have the stationery, have the bank account number, have the GST registration done. So if you do all these things, I will say that your company is ready on paper. So now the next step is to take your organization, to take your company as an export company, as an international organization. So for that, the essential registration, which is required now, what I will call is importer exporter code number. Yes, friends, you have to go for IC, the single registration, which is being done online on the website of organization, which is called DGFT, Director General Foreign Trade, a office which is working under Ministry of Commerce. Dr. Piyush Goyal is also chartered accountant, is today the minister for this commerce and industries. Under his able leadership, this department is functioning. You have to take IEC code number. These importer exporter code number which you get, that will be the only thing which initially you require to go for exports and import as your activity. Now, you have got the company ready, registered, you have got the IC code. Then you will require to do before your first shipment takes place, and that is called the EDI registration. That is with the customs, that is required prior to you going for first exports or you going for the first import. So let us assume that you are, let us say, Asha International, you are a manufacturer exporter, you are exporting, you are manufacturing and wanted to export chemical. Asha International has got the IEC code registration and all the things are ready in your place. How to start exports? The next step under this will be to get registration with relevant export promotion council. Friends, to facilitate and to support the Indian exporters, the government of India, very from the beginning, have organized an institution called Export Promotion Council. About 37 export promotion council catering to different product or a products group. They are established and they are promotional body. They support the exporters. They play a very, very important role of promotion for the purpose of export is concerned. If you are in doing a proposed to do chemical as your product, you have to be a member with the Chemixil, who is handling chemical as the one of the product. If your product is a plastic, then Plastic Export Promotion Council. your product happens to be a metal-based engineering, then EEPC will be the product. If your agro-based product is as APEDA, which is a organization, you also have to be a member with that. So depend upon your product or a group of the product, you can register with the Export Promotion Council or Commodity Board, which will take supportive role to you. My suggestion to all the professional over here is that lucky enough we are that all these Export Promotion Council have got their website. Lot of information you can get it on that. Their updated news are also available, and the treasure of knowledge for that particular product will definitely help you in your profession to guide your customers who wants to go for exports. RCMC is now online. Now it is to be registration is to be done through the DGFT RCMC portal. And once you get registered, that RCMC, which is a certificate issued by the respective council, that will be valid for a period of 5 years. The number of services they render, they are unbelievably large support to you compared to the fees what they are charging, which is very, very nominal. As I mentioned, each council, each commodity board is for a specific, for a particular product or a product group. But suppose you are a merchant exporter, you are a trader, and the number of products what you are handling are many and they are different. Then the question comes, how I should be a member with a multiple export promotion councils? Yes, you have a choice of that. But there is a one more organization that is called a FIO, which is a federation, which is an apex authority of all the export promotion council. And once you become the member of the FIO, you take an RCMC of the FIO, all the export products are automatically covered. You are indirectly a member of all 37 EPCs and commodity boards automatically. These export promotion councils are doing extremely good job. They provide the information, they give you the details, they provide you what are the export incentives available to them, and likewise, their value inputs to the exporters is extremely high. I'm delighted to inform you that most of the export promotion councils are organizing from time to time various awareness programs, seminars, webinar, workshop, and the meetings wherein you as an exporter get educated, you as an exporter get information and current trend which is available to you. You see, most of the export promotion council have got their newsletter. Nowadays, it is online, available on that. They also help you to solve your specific problem. They also guide you, the exporters, and they are the organization to whom you can refer as the reference point, and you can definitely grow. I, with all due respect and my experience, I will make a very firm statement that Export Promotion Council in India are playing extremely good role in the growth of the exporters. If you are a new exporter, then more so you need, because you will have many small queries. And if you approach to them, they will solve the problem, they will give the inputs. The staff of most of the export promotion councils are very supportive, positive, contributing, and encouraging. So friends, my advice to you as a professional is, please encourage your clients who wants to go for exports, or those who have already into exports, to take the maximum benefits of these institute, that is an export promotion council, for this part of it. Now, when you have decided that you want to go for the exports, we also need to understand how we can be successful as an exports. Yes, as an exporter, to be successful is our own responsibility. So I will say the few things which are very essential in exports to be successful. If you wanted success, if you wanted to be called as a successful exporter, and of course, there is a monetary benefits, there is a profiteering in that. So that is all are of your economical interest too. So what you need to have it. I will always say the first thing what you require is a knowledge. Yes, friend. When you are doing domestic, when you are doing local, your boundaries of your knowledge will be within India, market within India, customer base within India, seasons in the India, transportation of India, and that's all. The day you decide that you wanted to go for exports, you wanted to go for international market, yes, friend, the first thing what you require to do is that you have to open your mind and go to the world. You need to have a knowledge. Now, what knowledge? What should be the knowledge? The first you require the knowledge about foreign trade policy. For the benefit of all the professions, let me tell that this is a document which is published by Ministry of Commerce through the Director General Foreign Trade, DGFT. And this is a book, this is a Bible for the exports. And in that particular case, all the rules, regulations, guidelines, restrictions, all details are given in this book. In case any one of you, chartered accountant, is thinking that you want to go for the practice in the area of export-import consultancy, then I will say that this book of foreign trade policy, you should masterize. You should read it thoroughly. You should understand. You should know interpretation of this. Just for your benefit, let me tell you, this foreign trade policy is having mainly two books. One is a policy, what we call foreign trade policy, and one is a handbook of procedures. Let me just distinguish you briefly what exactly is the difference part of it. Foreign trade policy has got 9 chapters. Say in chapter 4, it is an advance authorization, the most important chapter. In this chapter 4, what it says, it refers to a one scheme which the government has announced, and that is advance authorization. In simple language, I can say that under this scheme, you get duty-free inputs into India, you can import it. What it means? That suppose Asa International is an exporter of ready-made garment, say shirts. They have got first order for 10,000 shirts from Mr. Smith of USA. Now for the making a shirt, what you require is a fabric. Now fabric is available, let us say in Korea, at a price much less than the price which is available in India. And you have decided that I will import the fabric from Korea. So chapter 4 very clearly spells out and tells you, yes, you can do it under the advance authorization scheme. Asha International, when they have read this proviso in the policy, they dance with the crowd.
एक सेकंड एक पहले ही भेज दूंगा 1 मिनट
So you can proceed. There is some.
Yeah. So Asha International will refer the book in which it is mentioned that you can import your inputs, that's a fabric, without paying any import duty. So you dance with joy. Yes, your costing will go down, your final product will become competitive, and you can materialize the order. But in that policy book, nothing more is given. Now you are confused as to when am I to apply, whom to apply, how to apply, whether I have to first export, whether I have to first import, how much value addition I have to do, and all so many questions which is out of this. For that, you have to refer another book that is called Handbook of Procedures. which is having more numbers of pages than the policy book. And in that, the full details are given as to how. So the policy book is a basic principle, and handbook of procedure is a detailed procedure with the annexure, forms, all the guidelines for this. So as a chartered accountant, when you want to advise somebody on advance authorization, the right thing will be that you study chapter 4 of the foreign trade policy as well as chapter 4 of the handbook of procedure. Put together both the chapters of the respective book. That will give you overall correct picture and capability of you for advising to your clients. So this is the one knowledge. Of course, like any other law, any other guideline, commercial, you have to read it updated, because there are changes, there are amendments, there are corrections. So you have to be updated on this. Just for your information, the current policy, foreign trade policy, which was originally for 2015 to 2020, as normally FTP is for a period of 5 years. It has been extended, and now as per the last announcement, on 1st of September, the new foreign trade policy will come. I think it is a right time for you to decide if that is the case. When the new foreign trade policy comes, yes, put all your efforts, learn the policy, understand the policy, and then you can guide. So your client who wants to go for exports should have at least a reasonable knowledge about the foreign trade policy as one of the ingredients to be successful in that, because this foreign trade policy will give him an idea that what are the export incentives you can take it when you are exporting a particular product. Same way, your client, the exporter, should have a reasonably good knowledge about the market, the seasons, preference and choice. Please remember that product selection, choice for the product, consumer preference, they are different from different countries. One of the biggest difference between the domestic trade and international trade is the nature of the product demanded by the overseas buyer. The product which we are selling into India are not necessarily will be accepted in overseas. So you need to understand that which product is required by the overseas market. One more thing I would like to add, that is all markets are not alike. Let me give you one example. In agro product, there is a cumin seeds, Jiru. If I am exporting cumin seeds to Yemen, then the quality with the Hodeda Yemen is taking is the one in which even 7 to 8% of the foreign particles admixture is there. It is allowed and acceptable in Yemen market, which is slightly, you can say, underdeveloped market. So, of course, that is a price sensitive market, and 7 to 8% foreign particles are accepted in Yemen market for the cumin seed. Very same products. If I want to export to, let us say, Sri Lanka accept only 2% to 3% of the admixture, not beyond that. So if your product is having the admixture or foreign particles more than a 3%, your entire cargo will get rejected if your buyer happens to be in Sri Lanka, in Colombo. Of course, price will be a different. Very same product, Jiru, which is one of the spices which is used in the kitchen. If that I am exporting to USA, friends, they require 0%. No admixture is allowed. Strictest of the strictest rules are applicable to the food item when it is imported into USA. So what will happen? I have to send the super quality. I have to do cleaning 3 times more than what I do normally. 0% admixtures is only allowed, otherwise the cargo will get rejected. So if I am in Unja, if I am in Gujarat, if I am doing cumin seeds, which is a very big center, if I'm exporting it, I should know the different market and acceptability of that particular market. And accordingly, I have to design, I have to select my product, I have to upgrade my product, even the packing requirements. That also differs with that. Let me give you one of the example in Australia. Suppose you are exporting wooden toys meant for the children, which is below, say, 2 years or below 4 years. The rule in the Australia is any toy meant for children below 5 years should not have sharp edge. There cannot be a toy having any corner which is a 90-degree. It has to be curvature. It is supposed to be round, so it does not have any injury to the child. So, friends, whenever you decide to go for exports, you have to check your product with reference to the requirement in your buyer's market, in the foreign market, in the market in which you wanted to go for it. As an exporter, you also should know about Incoterms. This is a documents published by International Chamber of Commerce Paris, and they have provided different 11 Incoterms, which is a business core part of it. So let us take an example. If you are giving a quotation to a buyer in USA, say you say $10 a shirt, your quotation is incomplete. You have to mention that in that $10, what you are going to cover. So if I say $10 X works, that means you are giving a message to your USA buyer that, my dear friend, you give me $10. I will manufacture the shirt, I will pack the shirt, and I will keep the shirt ready in a deliverable state at the gate of my factory, because it is a X works, in which case you have to come and arrange and take the goods and complete all the rest of the thing at your cost and risk. This is the Incoterms X works. Suppose if it is a CIF, cost, insurance, and freight. Yes, various terms like FOB, CFR, CIF you all will be aware about it. But when you are in the exports, when you are an advisor to the exporter, when the exporter himself is giving the quotation, he should know that every Incoterm has what is the meaning of it, what are his obligation, what are his costs, and that will help to him to do the quotation part of it. He also should have the knowledge about different terms of payment in international market. Exporter as well as the professionals advising on the exports matter should have reasonably good knowledge about letter of credit. Since you have a finance as a background, understanding LC, understanding role of the bank, understanding importance of the LC and safety of the LC, liquidity of the LC, that will be very, very beneficial for you. So exporters should acquire over a period of time the pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages of the 4 different terms of payment which are available. So that is how basically you can do it out. Yes, once you do it out, and the last thing, what exporter should know about the kind of packaging which is required in the international market. One of the most distinct is that in local business, of course, nowadays that statement I have to change. In local also, the packing has improved to a great extent as it was before 20 years. But international standard for packing for various reasons are much, much differ than for the normal part of it. Sending samples, getting approval of the samples, giving the query reply, negotiation, and ultimately getting an order. Friends, getting an order is a 50% success of it. The real success will come after getting an order and that is by successful execution. When you want to execute the order successfully, you need to know about the your base should be very strong about the product. The product should be extremely good. You have to take care of it. No compromise in quality. जो लोकल में हम कहते हैं 19-20 चलेगा नहीं दोस्तों. एक्सपोर्ट्स में 19-19 ही होना चाहिए, 20-20 ही होना चाहिए. बहुत क्लीन आते हैं if your quality is not as per the quality what you have agreed to. So as a professional, when anyone come to you for advice that I want to go for exports, and as a real well-wisher, as a valuable advice provider, you have to give a message, which I do always, and I ask my client, forget about the monetary part of it, but in international market, once you are committed a particular quality, please see that under no circumstances you compromise in the quality, even if you have to suffer the loss. Yes, friends, international market is a different market. It is very, very sensitive market. It takes a lot of cost for you to get one client enrolled with you. And on a small count, if you lose them, it is a very, very costly proposal. So quality, you need to focus on it so that you get into with that buyer and you earn from the buyer always in a long term and not in a short period. So your goal, your thinking, your vision, your activities should be always keeping the long term as a part of it. Second thing I wanted to convey to all of you, one area which is slightly neglected area for our exporters. And my experience traveling to overseas several times, meeting the overseas exporters also, understanding how they are successful, and that includes a huge export houses. One area where I feel that we all need to be very, very serious, very, very committed is delivery. Yes, friends, I will say that in last few years, when we are negotiating with the foreign buyer, when I am talking to the buyer on behalf of my clients, the last cutoff point where we get the order or what we do not get the order, for many, many years, it was a price. Price was a decisive factor. If the price is okay, I get the order. If price is not okay, I don't get the order. Friends, in last 10 years, that price is now not the criteria. Today, the criteria is a delivery. If my delivery term is accepted to him, I will get the order. Unfortunately, what happens? We all, including myself, when we give a delivery commitment, we really do not sit with a pen and paper and calendar and calculate how many days it will take for me to execute the order. And we commit orally, we commit in general, we commit with a lot of assumption at the back of mind, we commit with the over commitment inside, we commit without calculation. Yes, you are able to fulfill that commitment, but there are equal chances that in some of the cases you are failed due to the various factors. Your local orders are there, your workers are having festivals and there are holidays coming into that, and there can be multiple reasons for you that not to able to deliver in time. Whenever this happens, you earn the bad name, you don't deliver the goods, and that will result into the bad reputation. Buyer will lose the confidence, and cost of regaining the confidence is very, very high. I will share with you my one experience. In my early days, I used to travel heavily to the Middle East. Very regularly, I used to go. I, as a consultant, as a marketing person, used to take one of the product with me, is to take the manufacturer, exporter with me, and we start visiting to the various countries in the Middle East. I was at that point of time was considered as one of the most successful consultant, and there was a queue of the people who wanted me to take the clients to the overseas for booking the orders. Activity was going in a full swing, and obviously when you are successful, you are also encouraged to take more and more trips. One company from Mysore, he contacted me that he wanted the agarbatti as a product for the Middle East to sell, and he wanted me to join. Professionally, I associated with him. We started our trip. As usual, this was my 7th or 8th trip for a different product. So geography, people, marketing techniques, marketing environment, uh, marketing language, everything I was well aware about it. I was seasoned in that. When I started from Dubai and went on to the very different places, my bad luck that no party was ready to place the order. Everybody said, leave the sample, leave the quotation, we'll work on it. When they do not commit, the way they say, it was a soft no. And I gathered that this is my failure trip. My last destination was Bahrain, Manama. One of my old friend, Mr. Savant, he was dealing on a multiple products. So I went to him with a hope, with a request that you give me some booking so I don't go empty hands back. And my client was with me. Mr. Savant, just to keep our friendship in mind, he gave me a small order. And while discussing, he said that, Mr. Shah, ये इस्माइल भाई है, उसको आप बिट नहीं कर पाओगे. अभी ये इस्माइल भाई कौन मुझे पता नहीं था, पर ये इस्माइल भाई का रेफरेंस बहुत बायर लोगों ने मुझे दिया था. कोई ना कोई बोलता था मैं इस्माइल भाई से लेता हूं, हमें इस्माइल भाई देते हैं. ये इस्माइल भाई कौन है? वो मुझे वो पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे एक विलन जैसा लगा कि जिसकी वजह से मुझे ऑर्डर नहीं मिल रहा था. सावंत से मैंने डिटेल निकलवाई. बॉम्बे बैठते हैं मोहम्मद अली रोड पे, मैं जाकर उनको मिला, उनसे बात हुई, अच्छी बात होगी. जब मैं उनसे बात कर रहा था तभी उसने मुझे बताया कि वो बहुत छोटा आदमी, लेकिन उनकी यूएसपी, उनकी ताकत, उनका नाम, उनकी डिलीवरी की वजह से. और उसकी बातें करते करते उसने बताया एक उसका खुद का अनुभव, विच इज आई ओपनिंग फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस. उन्होंने बताया कि उनकी डिलीवरी जो कमिटमेंट होती है वो आज तक एक भी ट्रांजैक्शन में वो फेल नहीं हुए हैं. और वो गर्व के साथ महसूस करते हुए खूब ऑथेंटिकेट वे पे बोलते थे. तो आई हैव नो रीजन नॉट टू बिलीव इट. आई एक्सेप्टेड इट एज अ फेस वैल्यू. लास्ट में उन्होंने एक बात बताई जिस बात ने मुझे चौंका दिया, जिस बात ने मुझे मजबूर कहा कि ये बात मैं हजारों लोगों के साथ शेयर करूं. मुझे ये बात में बहुत इंस्पिरेशन लगा. उन्होंने बताया कि एक पार्टी का एक छोटा सा ऑर्डर था. वो ऑर्डर जो दिन डिलीवरी करना था वो दिन माल तैयार था, पर उनकी मदर की डेथ हो गई थी. तो इसकी वजह से वो अपनी ऑफिस नहीं खोल सका. 4-5 दिन तक वो अपने काम पे नहीं जा सका. तो इसके लिए वो जो डिलीवर जो दिन होना था वो दिन नहीं हुआ. ऑब्वियसली रीजन ही ऐसा था कि जिसके अंदर कोई भी बंदा उसको स्वीकारेगा, लेट आएगा तो उसको कोई कंसिडर नहीं करेगा, माइंड नहीं करेगा. इस्माइल भाई ने मुझे बताया कि साहब ये जब खत्म हो गया, 4-5 दिन का इंटरवल हो गया, जो दिन मैंने मेरी ऑफिस खोली, वो दोनों जितना माल था मैंने बैग में भर के मैं खुद फ्लाइट में जाकर हैवी एयर फ्रेट का पैसा भर के मैं जाके बायर को हाथ में देके. ये कमिटमेंट लेवल। मुझे मालूम है ये इतना आसान नहीं है, मुझे मालूम है ये कॉस्टली भी है, मुझे मालूम है कि हर वक्त पे नहीं होता है। ये एग्जाम्पल से एक चीज जो सीखने की मिली मुझे वो है कि आपका कमिटमेंट लेवल इतना स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए डिलीवरी के हिसाब से। और यदि आप मुझे पूछो कि कोई सिंगल फैक्टर which can take you exports on a much higher level, then I will say in today your commitment about delivery. प्राइस थोड़ा ज्यादा होगा तो मैनेज हो सकता है, पर डिलीवरी में यदि आप कमिटमेंट रहोगे तो पीपल विल सर्च फॉर यू एंड देन यू कैन गेट अहेड ऑफ इट। फ्रेंड्स, ये हो गई एक्सपोर्ट में कैसे एंटर होने की। अभी मैं आपको कुछ बातें ये बताना चाहता हूं। आप ऑलरेडी एक्सपोर्ट्स में हैं और आपको एक्सपोर्ट के अंदर
हेलो
ग्रो करना है, आपको एक्सपोर्ट में एक्सपांशन करना है, तो क्या करना है? आपका एक्सपांशन का ये सिंपल सी फॉर्मूला मैं आपको बता दूं। एक चीज आप समझ के रखिए, बिजनेस कोई भी हो, धंधा किसी भी प्रकार का हो, एक बेसिक चीज आपके माइंड में रजिस्टर करिए, दैट यू अलोन, if you are going to do a business on your own with all your ability, you can do the business of, let's say, X amount. So X amount is a individual limit which you can do exports by yourselves. Then you employ the staff, you create your internal management scheme, and because of your teamwork, yes, you can grow up to 3x. But today, the underlying agenda of my topic is, sir, X and 3X. We are aware. How to do 10X? If you want to do 10X, you have to create ecosystem. Few things you need to do is, that is, you should be surrounded by the team of experts, marketing experts, GST experts, export import consultant, your clearing agents, all should be top of the top. You are with the ministry, you are with the army of the advisor who keeps on, because the moment you go from X to 10X, the things will go with the speed. You need reply immediately. You need advice on the spot. You have to take a decision in the fraction of the minutes. And for that, your general knowledge will not help. Your expert knowledge, your domain knowledge will be very, very important. So I will say that if you want to expand 10X, create a ecosystem, create a reference, create a people around you, and take the help of the best team. That is how, even today, if you see, all the topmost organizations who are first 10% of the Indian exporters, they are exactly following this. Second thing is the scale up. Yes, the volume available, volume required in the exports is unbelievably large. So you also have to be ready. One of the saying which is there against the Indian exporter is that if I have to produce 1,000 piece in a particular time, I can maintain the quality. But if I'm required to manufacture 1 lakh piece, then my quality gets adversely affected. Yes, friends, many of us are not geared up to have the quality maintained when the large volume is there. So that is what you need to work it out. And one more thing which I feel that you require to expand your exports, make your export from X to 10X, and that is the 3 things you require to do. And those 3 things are travel, travel, and travel. Yes, friend. It is the travel which spells the business. You can expand the business only by being physically remain present with the buyer, remain in the reach within the buyer, contact the development relations with the buyer, and that's how basically you can work it out. Because the meeting with the buyer is extremely important. I will share with you one of the example. PVC leather cloth, what we call resin, which is used for the car seat, which is used for the sofa, which is used for the furniture. I was marketing for a client of mine, a company in Malad. I was marketing that product. I had an agent, Mr. Ali, in Saudi Arabia. There was a company who wanted this. We sent the samples. Ali went to the buyer. He has shown the samples. Buyer liked the samples. Then we got a message from Ali that Mr. Shah, buyer wanted to meet you. Can you just come down? I asked my client, for whatever the jolly good reason, the client was not eager to travel and meet the buyer. So I accordingly conveyed to him little bit in a sophisticated way. I said, आप बैठा हो तो फिर हमें आने की क्या जरूरत है, देख लीजिए जो भी होता है, प्राइस में कुछ बार्गेन करना है करके पर ऑर्डर ले लीजिए. Somehow or other, it didn't happen. The order we did not receive, and order has gone to somewhere else. After 6 months, Mr. Ali, who was our agent for Saudi Arabia for that company, he was in India. He came to us, and obviously the same topic we discussed कि ये बड़ा order हमें क्यों नहीं मिला. Friends, what Mr. Ali has told me at that time, I'm repeating for the benefit of your knowledge, so that you can understand that how this can work. Mr. Ali told me that the buyer was one of the biggest furniture and car seat manufacturer of this. They wanted to purchase 90 containers from you for this product. And last sentence is very, very, very important, that Ali told Mr. Shah, it was a psychological need. I repeat, it was a psychological need of the buyer that he meets the person who's going to supply you that 90 containers in a coming year. Friends, I will conclude saying that export is excitement. Export is gateway of opportunities. When we are going to a larger market, yes, your abilities, your skill will also be measured on the scale of the global. If you feel you are a champion, then there are challengers. You have to work at a super speed. You have to think at a much higher way. Your vision should be broad, long, and large. You have to be ready. You cannot think of a small thing. And once you get into it, yes, you will enjoy the business. You will have prosperity. And with all that things, I wish you all the good luck to you. And I hope that you as a professional will able to contribute in your client's profile, in that client's company, by adding one more vertical, and that is exports of the goods as well as the services also. There is a good scope of it. And with that, thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir, with your permission, can we go for the question answer session, sir?
Yeah, that's why I have put a 6 minutes early.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There are a few questions. First question is by one member. If a member of Indian origin decides to purchase, say, sugar from Brazil and sells it to West Africa, receive amounts and pays from banks in India, will it be categorized as export?
Answer is no. It is not an export in the pure form, because the export means goods must go out of the country and foreign exchange should come into India. So strictly speaking, by definition, it is not an export. But in Reserve Bank of India, in RBI, in the FEMA, RBI circular is there, FED 16 dated 1/1/2016. In that, this topic is covered under the heading of merchanting trade transaction popularly known as an MTT, and there is a guideline in which it can be doable. To the member, I wanted to convey that nowadays there is a very big scope in doing an MTT. I am handling about 30 transactions of MTT very regularly. It is a little typical, but answer to his question, it is not an export, but it is permissible transaction.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Second question is, what is EDI registration which is required for export? EDI registration.
Yeah, it is electronic data interchange. This registering authority is in customs. So, and the every port, say for example, I'm an exporter in Bombay. I want to export my goods from JNPT port. So before my first export takes place, I have to go for an EDI registration nowadays, which is online. There is no charges for that. I have to fill up the annexure 1. I have to give a copy of my IC, and generally my clearing agent or my custom broker will do this part of it. EDI is required when my first export or my first import. In a very simple, easy language, I will say it is nothing but creating exporter master data in the file of the customs.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Sir, one more question. I am not sure whether it relates to you or in the second session, sir. The question is, what kind of services I can provide for export being a chartered accountant?
Accounting services. See, there is a scheme called SEIS, Service Exports from India scheme. If you export your accounting services and you earn the foreign exchange, on that you earn the certain export incentives, and export of services has a huge market. And for accounting, it is one of the, because by any simple formula, a chartered accountant fees of UK will be much more higher than that of the Indian. And Indian can provide that kind of, I know a couple of chartered accountants who are concentrating on the accounting and the other services of the overseas, but they have to learn that country's rules, regulation, and formalities. They may not be having the signing power, for which they use another consultant. But my message to Lakhani sir, to all your friends, please focus on this. There's a huge scope. We have intelligence and we are capable of doing returns. Sir.
Yes, yes. Sir, last question. Will critical path evaluation and monitoring be useful?
Yes. What we call it a compliance. See, many of the time it happens that if you become a little bit careless or something goes wrong, how you suffer. I'll give you a simple example. One of my clients in Pune, they are the builders. They have imported elevator lift from the overseas. The invoice which they have received, import invoice, was in euro. But the clearing agent made the mistakes, and these people have not seen it. Entire bill of entry was filed in the dollar. Duty was paid, of course, less duty. The material was removed. It came into factory. When they went to the bank for the remittance of that, bank objected to it rightly, saying your bill of entry is showing an X amount and you wanted to remit X plus Y amount. It will not be allowed. Of course, there was a procedure to be followed under section 149. We got it corrected. But for that, it took almost about a 1 month delay for the remittance. Buyer got a bad message for us, and the additional expenses what we required to do. So even a dot and comma in documentation have led to several problem, delay, and the cost.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. The questions have been answered very well. 2 more questions have come, sir. If you, with your permission, I would like to ask the 2 questions, sir. How to find the agents from foreign countries who could tell the demands in their respective country?
2 methods. One is agents. You generally, we identify. I do a lot of identifying the agents, but most of the agents we identify when you are having the stall in the exhibition in the overseas. 80% of the people identify the agent during the exhibition period. When you have a stall where you put a one board, one signboard, one indication, agents required, and trust me, you will get people flooded with you. That's number one. Suppose you are not participating in the exhibitions and you are sitting in India and still you wanted it out, write to the local chamber of commerce in that country. That is a second way you can get it. And third, little costly, that is a newspaper advertisement in the overseas, but it is a costly affair. So these are the three ways we identify the agents.
Okay, sir. Last question so far, sir. Tools made on behalf of foreign client kept in India, but money received from client,
Not
will it be
permitted.
considered as export?
No, not permitted. Even that transaction is not allowed.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, with this, we conclude the first session.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you.
sir, we are enlightened with lots of knowledge in this VCM, which is organized by CP Committee of ICI. Sir, you have elaborated very well how the profession of chartered accountants has always been recognized for quality of education, training, and strong grip over the technical standards. Sir, you also informed us today the client expects more from CA beyond accounting, taxation, and finance. You informed us very well that client now expects advice on business strategy for growth. Sir, as you have also informed us the role of Export Promotional Council portal and its usefulness. Sir, we are happy to know the attitude, the behavior of the staff, who are highly active and positive for the export promotions. And also, sir, you informed us very well the importance of commitment apart from all other routine matters which you would have informed us. Sir, we are thankful to you for the informations that you have shared, the knowledge that you have shared with us. And I, C. Sanjay Lakhani, moderator of today's VCM, I sincerely thank you on behalf of ICI and all the members who are present over here, sir. Again, sir, thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure.
With this, should we move to the second session? We are all aware that with globalization and increasing business complexities, it is essential that chartered accountants equip themselves with changes occurring and stand out to the expectations of the society. Our institute is constantly working and contributing to cater the needs and requirement of our members and has taken various initiatives from time to time in this direction. Our today's these two sessions seminar is also one of such activity where members are going to gain lots of knowledge. We very well know that today's program is divided into two sessions. First session we have completed and we have understood how to start and increase the export. Let us move to the second session, and the speaker for the second session, Advocate Nayan Rawal sir, is present over here. I welcome Nayan Rawal sir in this second session. The topic of the second session, we know it is role of chartered accountants in intellectual property laws for business value enhancement. And for this session, we are fortunate enough to have Advocate Nayan Rawal sir with us. With permission of sir, I would like to give his little introduction in front of the members who are present over here for the benefit of their future usefulness. Advocate Nayan Rawal sir, he has completed Bachelor of Law from Mumbai University, postgraduate diploma in patent laws, practice from Institute of Intellectual Property Rights Studies, Mumbai. Sir is a member of Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa. Sir has completed BCom, CS, LLB, DBF, Diploma in Cyber Laws, Indian Law Institutes, DNIIT, etc., etc. Sir has completed various certificate courses like general courses on intellectual property, certificate course in copyrights management, certificate course in biotechnology, intellectual property from World Intellectual Organization. Sir has also done certificate course in ADR from Patil Forum of Dispute Resolutions, Pune. Sir has more than 2.5 decades of experience in the field of corporate law and IPR practice. Sir is focusing on patents and designs, trademarks, copyrights, and intellectual property laws. Sir has also been speaker at various conferences of ICI, ICSI, engineering institutes on importance of IP. Sir has experience in counseling and advising clients regarding protections and commercialization of intellectual property rights consultancy, and strategy conducting and IP audit, valuations of IP, public issues management, competition law, etc., etc. With this word of introduction about the sir, I welcome sir over here on the second session on this two sessions seminar. Without wasting much more of our time, now I request Nayan sir to take charge of the session. Over to you, sir, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Lakhani, for that wonderful introduction. I really don't know whether I deserve it or not. Let me tell you at the outset that I'm not here to teach anybody to anything. I'm just here to share my experience on the subject matter which I am passionate for last 23 years. And that's what I am going to have a journey for next 1 hour with all my good friends from the CA profession. And I want to make a point to it that what exactly is the role of chartered accountants. Before I start my presentation, let me tell you one thing. And the fact is that IPR is the only field. IPR is only the field where we have role and scope for each and every type of professional. Be it a lawyer, be it a scientist, be it a chartered accountant, be it an MBA, be it an engineer, whoever it is, everybody has a kind of a definite role what they are trying to pitch in as an IPR. Now that's what is my job today, is to convey that IPR is not something only lawyers can do. It's everybody has a definite and absolutely a niche role. Let me tell you, a niche role. Not that the CA is required to do the role of a lawyer, or a CA is required to do a role of a scientist. Everybody has a niche role in IPR, and that's what my attempt is to this. Now, how can I share my PPT? Because I've sent it to my madam who had sent me an email.
Sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. Yes, please make sir co-host, so he will be able to share the PPT.
No, but the PPT will be opened by you, or I have to open it in?
You can open on your system, sir.
Okay, no problem. I can read. So first I will have to open my PPT and then share the screen, correct?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute.
Meanwhile, if I share some information for the benefit of the members, meanwhile, sir will make the screens ready. Sir, is it ready, sir? Okay, sir.
I don't know whether, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, please, sir. Mr. Lakhani, you can complete it. Not an issue about it.
No, sir. Actually, okay. The today's session is of highly importance, considering the fact that in financial year 2021-22, India has achieved milestone of making export of more than $400 billion, which is record export. The target was $400 billion, which we complete almost 7 or 8 days before the end of the financial year. In this context, today's session becomes more important, and we expect, sir, some more knowledge from your side, how we can be, the chartered accountant be useful in more export and the benefit of the businessmen. Yes, sir. Over to you, sir.
Recording in progress.
Whole presentation is focused to the CA profession. I'm not going to teach anything about the law. I can't teach law to chartered accountants. They are more expert than me. Let me be honest about it. And let me tell you one thing. You have shared some information. I'll also share some information. Yesterday, I was talking to one of the most prominent stock capital market executive who's there in capital market since last 35 years. And I was trying to take some guidance on my son who has completed his engineering. And now he is planning to take finance as his field. So he said the next 10 years, the finance and investment, for the finance and investment all over the world, India is going to be the prominent destination. So that's the kind of scope and activities the chartered accountants will have to play, that we'll need more and more people to have it. Like there are so many new concepts coming on. Like there is a concept of ESG which is coming now. Dow Jones and Morgan Stanley have opened up, or they have formed a platform of their own to list the companies who are having, say, best of the governance and best of the finance standards. So that will help the investors to invest in the Indian companies. So India is going to become a biggest destination for finance and investment in next 10 years. That's what he was telling. He is a 35-year-old and long stint in the capital market and a very prominent person in capital market. I'm not telling the name for the purpose of my clientship with him. So that's what it is. So that's where, how intellectual property is going to help chartered accountants, and they have a definite role to play in IPR. Until they come in IPR, it is very difficult that intellectual property, the economic aspects or the investment aspects of the IPR can be understood by anybody, because lawyers will do the legal work. They cannot do the work of commerce and business, where CA is something which is most prominently required about it. So that's what the whole journey is. I'll try to see what best I can give you about this. Yeah. So this is my concept today. I am going to take the journey of this presentation with this 3-4 points or 5 points which I have. Let's understand the concept of intellectual property. What is exactly an intellectual property? Second is the purpose and objectives of the intellectual property. See, until you answer the questions like why, what, and how about any concept, it is not clear that to understand that new concept until we understand why, what, and how. That's what Mr. Simon Sinek has taught me as a business coach or a speaker, motivational speaker, that you need to understand what, how, and why of all the things. And that's where, if you know that, you will be very clear to choose your path on that. And that's what the job I am going to do about it. Yeah. Now, this is the biggest statement I have come across in my life by this gentleman who was not at all having any formal education in this world. He was just an ordinary patent clerk. He was just a patent clerk in the US patent office. And I have learned a lot. My whole journey about IPR is the trigger point of this sentence, the very sentence this gentleman has said. I respect him huge, like, and biggest intellectual I have come across in my life. He says, imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagination is more important than knowledge. That's what Albert Einstein says. Like, everybody has knowledge. Everybody is knowledgeable. Chartered accountants, company secretaries, lawyers, engineers, doctors. But when they put their knowledge and they apply the imagination to knowledge, and that's where they can create wonders. And that's what I am going to prove it in my presentation. So what is important in life to understand anything for any professional is imagination is more important than knowledge. We were just listening to Mr. Shah. He was really passionate about the subject which he was talking. Now, why he was so passionate? Let's understand that. A very senior person, I have heard him before this also in many of the forums. Why he was so passionate? Because he was absolutely having lots of imagination for his knowledge. He has a huge knowledge of export. He has a huge knowledge of finance. He has a huge knowledge of whatever he had been really mastering it. But was that enough to become what he is today? He applied his imagination to what he had, and that is why where he is what it is. So that's what is important. Like imagination is more important, and this is the trigger point of IPR. Yeah. What is intellectual property? It means the legal rights are resulted from intellectual activity in the field of industrial, scientific, literary, and artistic field. As I told you that everybody has a definite role in intellectual property. It's a cluster of legal recognized rights associated with innovation and creativity. Innovation and creativity, like creativity does not have a school. Yeah. You don't need to go to school, or you don't need to go to attend college or profession to understand creativity formally. Anybody can create. Anybody can create. I'll give you a good example at the end of my lecture that anybody can do innovation. It's not necessarily that you have to be from that field or particular field. Like even chartered accountants can create innovation. Even chartered accountants can create innovation. I'll prove it to it. The works of mind as against physical product, land and other tangible resources. Yeah, that's what exactly it is. It's actually in the mind. And then when you put imagination to that mind or that knowledge, it becomes a physical product. Yeah. The term describes ideas, inventions, technologies, artwork, music, literature. Just a minute, just a minute. Sorry for that interruption. They are intangible when they are created, but become valuable in the tangible form as a product. Huh. Have you seen a Bisleri bottle? Have you seen a Bisleri bottle? If you see Bisleri bottle, is that a Bisleri bottle a common bottle or a common water inside it? Like when I was in as a student, I have never had a water in a bottle. We used to drink water very carefully, carefreely from a tap or from an whatever you call. We have a system on facility of water. Piyao, what we हम जो पियाओ बोलते थे, हम वहां से भी पानी पी लेते थे. But today we are not having any piyaos. The water is sold as a commodity to you. Yeah, is that a common water? If somebody fills in tap water, will you really have that water? You will not have it. The shape of the bottle, where the mineral water or that water is sold, is that a common for every product which you buy? No. And always there is a brand on that. If I remove that label, nobody will buy that. So somebody thought that I can really convert water into a product. What will happen is water is created into a product. And that's what is the real exemplification of how imagination is really put to the action. Everybody had knowledge of water being available. Everybody knew that water is available. Nobody thought that the water can be actually processed in the right form, given as a hygiene or given as a health product. So today it has become a health product. Even now, if you go to hotel, you would not prefer to have water from the hotel's local facility. You would like to have a Bisleri. They also offer you. So they are also earning out of that bottle now. So that's what is all about intellectual property. It's an idea. It's an invention. It's a technology, artwork, music, literature. So many examples we will be taking. I am having a lot of case studies which I am going to share with you. Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is what exactly is going to be defining intellectual property. This is the formal definition of what is intellectual property. This is a definition given by an international body called WIPO. WIPO is World Intellectual Property Organization. It defines what exactly do you mean by intellectual property. And according to them, intellectual property is divided into two parts. One, you have an industrial property, and one, you have copyright and related rights. Yeah. Let's understand the industrial property. If you have an invention, you can protect it in the form of a patent. Like if you have an invention, innovation and invention, that's what we are going to trade off. What innovations are invention and what inventions which can be protected in the form of a patent, which will create a kind of an intellectual property. That is what the study of intellectual property. And in intellectual property, industrial property, if you have invention, you can protect it in the form of a patent. If you have an artistic creation, configuration patterns, you have a design. Like shape of the bottle of all the distillery bottles are different. So those designs can be also protected in the form of a design registration. That is what the another part of intellectual property. If you have a brand now today, individuals have also become brands. Like LinkedIn is the biggest platform to create yourself as a brand. It could be chartered accountant, it could be an MBA, it could be doctor, it could be scientist, it could be engineer. Everybody tries to create, even a housewife tries to create herself as a brand on LinkedIn. So that's what it is. If you have a brand, you can register that as a trademark. There are certain products which have appellations and origins which are associated to the geographical conditions of that particular place. Means that product can be either created, cultivated, manufactured only in that particular geographical jurisdiction. That is also protected in the form of geographical indications. The best example of geographical indication is the Darjeeling tea. Darjeeling tea you cannot cultivate in Mumbai, Maharashtra, Goa, anywhere. It can be only cultivated in Darjeeling because the geographical conditions are such that it can be manufactured or cultivated or processed, whatever it is, only in Darjeeling. That's what is the geographical indication. Trade secrets. Absolutely, today's world, information has become a commodity. Information has become a commodity. Like knowledge is absolutely important. Information for that knowledge is also very important. So information has become a raw material. Yeah. Lastly, somebody asked a question, where do I get the information about the agents? Yeah. You have to contact a chamber of commerce, and that chamber of commerce has lots of databases. They can keep it as a trade secret. You pay it and then only that information is available to you. That's a trade secret. Like biggest trade secret on this universe is the formula of Coca-Cola. They didn't protect it in the form of an invention. Today also, only the 7 board of directors and their legal heirs know what is the formula of Coca-Cola. Nobody else knows the original formula of Coca-Cola. That's the biggest example of trade secrets. Then we have integrated circuit, which is also called as semiconductor chips. Semiconductor chips. This is going to be the future of India. Yeah, you can increase your four-fold exports from $400 billion to something else. Or what is 400 crores or more than 400 crores in next 2 years, provided you actually focus on semiconductor chips. Mr. Narendra Modi has actually been working hard to take out a policy on this. This is the IPR where he is saying that we need this. The whole economy of Taiwan is only on this product. They are able to create a lot of kinds of chips. They are the biggest supplier of chips. Today it has happened so that they do not have capacity to do anything further. They are not able to meet the requirement of the whole world. The auto industry suffers because we do not have semiconductor chips technology exploited properly. That's what the biggest Tatas have decided to set up a different project altogether for this. Sterlite has tied up with the biggest technology hub of company of Taiwan to set up a huge technology park for semiconductor chips. That's going to be it's going to be a game changer IP for the Indian economy. It has applications in so many places, healthcare, automobile, even in service sectors. It's going to be a huge technology to be explored and commercially exploited in India. At other end, we have copyrights and related rights. is one of the most neglected intellectual property as far as India is concerned. 5% of GDP of Singapore is contributed by the copyright as an industry. Singapore has copyright and related rights as an industry. One small example I'll give you and a case study I'll give you, and you will understand the commercial importance of intellectual property like copyright and how it is neglected in India. Everybody must have read about Harry Potter. Everybody knows what is Harry Potter. Yeah. Who is the author of Harry Potter? The author of Harry Potter is J.K. Rowling. Now, this lady was a divorcee. She got divorced from her husband. And as a settlement of divorce, she didn't get anything or much of the thing to settle and stay alone separately. She has to maintain herself and one son. She didn't know what to do it, but she had a flair for writing from her childhood. So she started writing books and she started writing small stories and novels. Out of that, she created Harry Potter. Harry is her son's name. She branded that literary work absolutely in her own son's name. Today, Harry Potter has become the biggest intellectual property in copyright industry. She is hiring more than 150 professionals all over the world to just regulate and take care of the licensing rights of copyright in the form of Harry Potter. Harry Potter is translated into 14 foreign languages: Spanish, Japanese, Martini, all 15 different languages, including English and Hindi. Now, one particular kind of copyright and the way it has created history for herself, she has become a billionaire today. That's the commercial and economic importance of the IPR. Now, what is copyright? Copyright subsists in something called as a work. And that work could be a literary work, dramatic work, artistic work, musical work, cinematographic film, and rights relating to performers, broadcasters, and sound recorders. The last one is called as a related rights because that is not directly connected with the main copyright. Literary work, you write any book, you write content. Content has become the biggest business, content industry, content writers. We have never seen something called as a content writing as an activity or a profession 20 years back. Today, content writing has become the biggest commercial activity. So much of content. Do we still require content? There are professional content writers. See the amount of literary work. We have 15 different languages in India. And so much of literary work is there. We have so many cultural values and historical novels and books. We could not commercialize it because we have never paid attention to the economic aspects of the IPR. That is the literary work, dramatic work. The literary work can be converted into dramatic work. Again, the licensing can come. Then we have artistic work, painting, sculptures, musical work, music. Music industry is absolutely a biggest industry to earn. But how much they are losing on piracy? That's where the commercial aspects of the IPR comes in. Film industry. It is said that every year, film industry is losing more than $5 billion because of copyright piracy. See the kind of contribution copyright can do to the economy. It's the most neglected, according to me, it's the most neglected IPR in this country because it's not there. What is the problem of IPR? People are not having awareness on this concept. Narendra Modi has taken up as a task and given responsibility to all IPR offices that I want within 1 year at least 3 crores of students. 3 crores of students should know what is the concept of IPR. Every year, and it is put only to one one IPR house as a responsible person. You have to educate them. Performers and broadcasters, right? When you go to a hotel and you listen to music, nobody knows that you are paying for it. It is not the hotel that is giving free of charge that music to you. Performers' rights, or there are copyright societies. The T-Series business model is completely based on copyright. He has his own copyright society for licensing of copyrights. Just imagine the commercial angle involved in deciding the licensing rights of the music. That's where the role of chartered accountant will come. So this is what is, in nutshell, the actual definition or the concept of intellectual property, what it is, industrial property and copyrights and related rights. Industrial property, you have patent, trademark, design, geographical indication, trade secrets, and semiconductor chips or integrated circuit. The other end, we have copyrights. Yeah. Issues in IPR. What you will protect? Technical issues, legal issues, the economic issues. What you will protect as an IPR? Let's understand this. The next slide will explain. One product, many IPR. This is a device which we call as a writing device in IPR field. We don't call this as a pen. We call it as a writing device. The broadest term is given. Before, just imagine this is a product which is say 500 years or 200 years old. But when it was created, it was patented. Because storing of ink was a technology. That time storing of ink was not possible. So storing of ink is a technology. Then we have something as a shape of that writing device. Different pens have different shapes. So that's how it is protected as design. Will you buy that pen if it does not have a brand? Just imagine the kinds of brands available. Like you have Parker, you have Cross, you have Montblanc. So many pens and so many brands. Just imagine the IP involved and the commercial angle of the IP involved in such products. Yeah, so that's how is the basic background which I have created for what do you mean by IPR. Now let us individually try and understand each and every kind of IPR. What is trademark? It's a brand or it's a mark capable of being represented graphically and capable of distinguishing the goods or services of one person from those of others. It may include shape of goods, their packing, and combination of colors. Very broad kind of IPR. Next time when you all go to McDonald's, try and buy the burgers in a package, not in that paper wrap. They will give you a kind of a basket, small paper basket. Have burger, enjoy your burger, don't throw away that basket. Just examine that basket, and on the reverse of that basket, there will be something written that the shape or the packing of this material of this product is protected as trademark of McDonald's Inc. USA. See the kind of intellectual property they have created, even only from packing. The McDonald's, that's a separate thing. They have created each and every kind as an IP. Each and every constituent of business is protected IP so that nobody enters that. Yeah. It can be name, word, numerals, packing, combination of colors, signature, letter, shape of the goods. The next slide will justify it. Like you have, see the Starbucks logo. It has name, it has a logo, there's a princess in the logo, then it has a color combination, black and green. Nobody can use it. Colgate has been protecting their packing in the form of red and white. Nobody is allowed to use red and white as color combination in toothpaste industries because that's what their theme is about their product. The red and white projects that toothpaste is used for dental system. Your teeth are white and your gums are red. That's why he's used the red and white. See the kind of innovation and thinking they have and the kind of branding they have created for their product. and the kind of value and valuation they must be creating out of that IPR. That's where a role of a chartered accountant comes in. Nike, just do it. Nike is a word and there is a signature of a sign, just do it. That's a punchline. Punchline can be also protected as trademark. Yeah. A patent. A patent is a grant to inventor for an eligible invention to the inventor. As I told you, there's a huge difference between what is innovation and invention. All inventions are innovation, but all innovations are not inventions, in the sense that all innovations are inventions which cannot be protected as patent. So what are the eligible invention which can be protected as patent? That's the next question anybody can ask. So the law says invention which has novelty, utility. The utility here is the commercial utility, not the general utility, and inventive step. If you have 3 ingredients, then you can patent your technology. Patent is meant for technology. Inventions, eligible inventions. Yeah. Copyright, original, literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic work. See the examples of copyright. What exactly is the concept of copyright? Copyright says that anything which has skill, labor, and capital. I have protected dictionary as copyright. So somebody will say, what is there in dictionary? Dictionary is a very common product. But he has used his skill. He is giving you bifurcation of each word and meaning, which is a general thing. A, B, A, C. You don't need to waste your time in finding out a particular word. You have to just little bit effort and you get the word and meaning both. So that was a labor, skill, and judgment which was applied. And that was also protected as copyright. Very ordinary product. The best example for copyright in accounting and finance industry is that software which we have. What is that accounting software? I forgot the name. Tally, yes, Tally. I have never seen such a strategic person in this world. The Tally had come in existence in 1994 and everybody was copying it. He didn't bother. He said, let people copy. I'm happy about it. Yeah. People went on copying for 10 years. And in 2005, he put the locks to that software. And now you cannot use that software without having a licensing copy of Tally. And not only that, he started training people. If you want to learn Tally, you have to take training also from him. For that also he is charging. See the kind of amount and the money he has leveraged for his business out of one copyright. And the strategy, IP is all about strategy in this world. And strategy is something which commercial and finance people can actually devise it very better in a better manner. Requirements of copyrightability, originality, and fixation. It is said.
And I wanted to take 2 minutes.
Yeah, please, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And if you can do a stop sharing for 2 minutes.
Yeah, please, sir. Please, sir. I have to stop sharing.
Yeah, then I wanted to interact with the members. Thank you, Nayan Bhai, and apology for intervening in between. And Ajit Bhai, if he's there, he can put on his video. And thank you, Ajit Bhai. And Sanjay Lakhani. I'm so lucky. Today's day is, I'm earning the export income and I'm earning the IPR income. So, and Sanjay Lakhani has joined from Rajkot. So that shows in any smallest town where there is only one chartered accountant or any tehsil, there are 5,600 tehsil. Both these areas are global areas of practice. In all 192 countries, we can look at the IPR. So these webinars which we have started now, we want everyone, every participant. Deepika, you assist me how many participants are there, and if there are queries, we want to personally mentor. Nayan Bhai has all the time, Ajit Shah has all the time, myself has all the time, unlimited time, and the committee has unlimited time. Krishnakant. So we are looking for the each member to be the thought leader, use social media, become a speaker, become a writer, become a moderator, like what Sanjay, you can also put on your video. So if there are any query, I will take up those. And Sanjay, you at Rajkot encourage every member in all your WhatsApp group and other areas to become moderator, tomorrow is a World Book Day. And we have planned a session for, 10 to 1, how to write a book within 1 week. So UNESCO has started celebrating 23rd April every year as a World Book Day. And today is a World Earth Day. Krishnakant and Deepika, are there any queries pertaining to?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you can post in the chat, or you can speak out those queries with the name of the querist. Be very
Okay,
fast.
sir. Okay, sir.
Be very fast, Krishnakant, Deepika. Are there any queries or there are no queries?
So there is
there
a
are two
query we are
queries.
pasting on in the chat.
No, chat will be difficult to see, but do
Sir,
it
there are two
fast.
queries. There are two queries, sir.
This
second session.
Tell me.
Sir, first one is if one steals the information stated
Yeah,
on the
okay, those
website.
Nayan Bhai will answer. Are there any general query to become a speaker, writer?
No, sir.
How to earn globally in the dollar or sterling pound? Those queries I will solve. Difficult queries, Nayan Bhai Rawal and Ajit Bhai Shah will solve. I will solve only easy query. Okay, over to you, Nayan Bhai.
Thank you. Thank you,
The
sir.
number of participants are 2100.
2100, very good figure. 2100 participants. I want them. My affirmation is 10,000 US dollar every day. That is the affirmation I write. So I want each one of 2100 participants. Don't put any boundary when you imagine your income, area of practice, the country you travel at the, along with the client if you do global practice. So I want each one of you to work on that. Over to you, Nayan Bhai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Are you able to see the screen, everybody?
Participants.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yeah.
Requirements of copyrightability.
Like, it is very simple. A mere idea cannot be protected as IPR in any form. It can be protected only if it is having an originality and it has to be manifested in some form or other. I just clearly say that it was my idea. How would you prove? So mere idea is not protectable. You have to actually get manifested in some form. That's what the even requirement of copyright is. Yeah. 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 Geographical indication. As I told you that certain products are associated with place of origin, making its character and quality dependent on features of such sort. Let me give you an example, and it is that. Yeah, these are the examples of geographical indication. Feni, Goa Feni, Kolhapuri Chappal, Jamdani, shawl from Bangladesh, and Darjeeling tea, Jamaican coffee, the blended and the Scotch whiskey, and the most celebrated geographical indication I have come across in my life is tequila. Tequila is actually manufactured or cultivated. It is extracted from a leaf called agave leaf. And the agave leaf is only cultivated in Mexico. Protected. I think somebody's mic is on. I'm getting some disturbance. Hello? Can I continue?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. Tequila is something which is actually extracted from the leaf called agave leaf, and agave leaf is only cultivated in Mexico. Mexico has registered this as a geographical indication. And the way they have exploited this geographical indication as an IP all over the world. Tequila is a very famous drink, and that is why it is called Mexican drink. See, if you see their brand itself has agave leaf as an indication. That is what is geographical indication. Yeah. Industrial design is the form of a product. Only the aesthetic and visual form of a product can be filed and protected as industrial design. Not the technical. Technical comes in patent, or not the distinguishing feature. That comes in trademarks. Yeah. Best examples of designs: bottles, Coca-Cola, sandals, iron. Yeah. Then this is also the design which was protected, and there was a big fight between Apple and Samsung only for this design. And Samsung ended paying more than $240 million as compensation to Apple for actually copying that design. That's where now the role of chartered accountants start new phase of innovation. Now, these are the companies which were actually, and their balance sheets were evaluated, their value were evaluated based on their balance sheet. In 1980, this is a very old record. There's a much better record than this now available. But I wanted to make a point that how IPR has traveled through last 20-25 years. In 1980, this Fortune 500 companies had 80% as their fixed assets and 20% as intangible assets. Now, whichever companies were existing in 2000, they were again valued, and the result was totally reverse. It was 20% which was actually fixed assets, and it was 80% that was intangibles. And that shows the basis that the finance and the commercial people has a huge role to play in IPR. What is innovation? Innovation is the infrastructure for intellectual property. If you do not have innovation, you will never have IPR. And if you do not have innovation, you will not exist also in this world. What was existing before 5 years is not existing today. The world has become a very disruptive place altogether since 1995. Because 95, the internet was born, and it has completely changed the dimensions of the life. Yeah. Information had become raw material, and at a click of button, the information flows from one corner of the world to the other corner of the world. And that's how innovation has become. Now, innovation as a culture has a structured process, and that structured process is one is the create phase, which is done by these technical people or scientists or even chartered accountant can innovate. Like Tele was the biggest innovation I have seen in the accounting field. Then the protect phase, you protect it. I told one product, many IPR, just simple pen and see the kind of IPR he has protected. And the leverage phase. This is the field where we have been very lacking. We do not know the commercial and the economic aspects of IPR. That's where we leverage it. Today, the role of IPR is itself in the business plan. You identify the IPR, secure the IPR, register the IPR, protect, and the exploit. To explain this slide, I'll just give you one small case study. We all do sharing today with a twin blade technology. Now we do not have that traditional technology of a razor where you take out, put the blade, then blade. Okay, some people are using it in the rural India. But in the urban area, if you see, everything is about twin blade technology. The twin blade technology was taken out by Gillette. So when he thought about this as a product or this as a technology, he had 6 to 8 designs before him. Now he didn't know which is going to get protected or which is going to get successful. So he registered all the 6 to 8 designs which had in different form. He created patent for the blade technology. He created shape of the designs or the razors were protected as the shape of the designs, and he branded it. He did everything. But what did he do with this IPR is more important. When the first product was launched, it had a good response. He understood that my product and my innovation has been accepted by people. You know what did he do? Before the sales of first blade or design, it could go down, he launched his second design. Before the sale of second could go down, he launched the third one. Before the sale of third goes down, he launched the fourth one. And then he went on doing it. That is how we have Mac 1, Mac 2, Mac 3 and Mac 4. And then he put the razor to a different use. Absolutely. He says there are so many people who are old people who cannot do shaving for themselves. So either their son or daughter help them in shaving. So how do I use this shaving Gillette technology for people who have to shave for others? What is important is that by creating this wall of IPR, he didn't allow anybody to enter the market of razors, twin blade technology razors. Do you have any other product in twin blade technology? Supermax tried it. It failed. Like if you think about twin blade technology, you will only have Gillette. You will not get any other product. Okay, you may get a forfeited or a spurious product, but you will not get other brand other than Gillette. That's the wonder of IPR in a business plan. Yeah. Economic perspective of IPR. IPR protects policy, stimulates economic growth on macro level, economic level. At micro level, IP helps conversion of knowledge and information into income. IP should be factored by organizing their business strategy. That's what exactly Gillette did. And let us see, we will see the examples of Xerox at the end of and how if you do not respect IPR, what happens. Like it is said by the World Bank had given a report. They said that any country which is a strong IPR regime country, they have maximum FDI. They have maximum FDI. Taiwan has leveraged FDI only because of semiconductor chips as their IP. China is strong in terms of lot of technologies because they have an IP, very strong IP regime. So IP regime also helps economics. Now I am very glad to share that it was first time in India that we had IP policy, national IP policy came in 2016. No other subject matter has, we do not have a healthcare policy in this country, but we have IP as a national policy. And one of the aspects of that national IP policy is the awareness of IP, and that's what exactly we are trying to do now. 80% of the market value of Microsoft is derived from intangible assets, especially intellectual property. Microsoft's the complete business model is only IP. The value of Coca-Cola trademark exceeds $50 billion only in US. Only the US market was valued for, and what was the value? It was the value of only two things which Coca-Cola had. One is a brand Coca-Cola and the shape of the bottle. The formula is not protected. It is kept as a trade secret. So what was actually protected was only the brand and the trademark, and then when that was valued, that was actually $50 billion. Skills and knowledge have become the only source of sustainable competitive advantage. If you see today, if you see the kinds of companies coming out, if you see what were the companies which were famous 5 years back and what are the companies famous now, you will not find the same names repeated. You will not, even internationally and even in domestic industries, you don't find the same names repeated. Yeah. Does your management structure have a space and scope to reflect strategic importance of intellectual property? Now, a company like Reliance, I had gone through the annual report of Reliance and I found first 19 pages of annual report was only on the brands which Reliance was owning it. So Reliance is also very much absolutely an IP oriented company. Let's see how that is what I made last 3 slides, how that is reflected. Does Amazon manufacture anything? Nothing. Does Swiggy owns any restaurant or a hotel? No. Does Zomato owns any restaurant or a hotel? No. Does Oyo owns any 5-star property or a 7-star property or any resort? They don't own anything. But will any manufacturer believe that he will be able to do what business he is doing without Amazon? Swiggy and Zomato, they were the best people to survive restaurant business in the pandemic. Had been not there Swiggy and Zomato, there were so many restaurants who would have closed down that business. Oyo, after pandemic, it came out with a very good thing, very good concept, that I am ready to give you rooms which are fully sanitized and full of Wi-Fi. That was his marketing strategy. Now see, he does not own any 5-star property. But every 5-star property or every hotel in this country has this brand on their banner, Oyo. We have Oyo rooms. This is IP strategy. These are the new business practices which has come out because of intellectual property. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Swiggy not owning any restaurant, Zomato not owning any restaurant, but they are the biggest names in the restaurant and the hotel business. That is what is something which is the economic and the commercial aspects of the IPR. IP as an asset management. IP as an asset management is a systematic management of different IP assets that protects one or more product lines or business aspects. It is a quantification of previously mysterious IP efforts enabling measurement and objective evaluation of investment scenarios. Just imagine that 139 brands which Reliance owns today also. Now they are not taken on balance sheet. If they are taken on balance sheet, what will happen? What asset base it will create for that company? And where will be the market capitalization of Reliance on the stock exchanges in India? That's the wonder of IP, and that's where we have a definite role for finance people to do it. Now, IP management and its constituents, we need to understand what is IP as management and IP as finance. IP is an integral part of a business plan. That's what we saw with the Gillette example. IP policy, nothing comes out on a one day. You need to really create IP and innovation as culture. IP and innovation can come only as culture. Then you have IP audit. Now this is not a statutory audit where you give a report. No, IP audit is absolutely a different thing. I am having a portfolio of say 500 brands in pharmaceutical industry. Am I earning all 500 brands? Am I earning or taking money, or I am making business out of all the 500 brands? I may be using only 50-70 brands. Then what do I do with the 230 brands? Licensing it out. The highest patentee in this world is Intel for last 10 years. Intel holds as many as 3,500 patents worldwide on various technology and products. What they do it? They said the technology which we are not using for our core competent business, licensing it out. They have a separate company and division which is called IP licensing model business. They have created licensing model and they are only earning out of the royalty business for those technology and that product which they are not going to use for their commercial exploitation. So IP audit is all about that. Let's understand it's more of a landscaping of an intellectual property or landscaping of an intangible assets which an organization is owning it. And if you can own and you can really do, you will be able to give a new dimension to your business and the growth. That's what exactly companies in foreign, in US and Europe are doing it. Like if you see Dell had created a history. It was a startup which has to acquire a big organization. Dell created a business model for selling laptops. He said, I'll give customized laptops and desktops to people. I don't want to give what is available to me. I will give what customer wants it. He had a separate system. He created a business model out of it. And Compaq, which was the biggest company, digital corporation, their business started really destroying because of Dell's technology and Dell's concept. He had to finally ask Dell to buy him out. And it was a history in USA that a startup had, or a new company which was only 5 or 10 years old, had bought a big company, acquired a big company. That's where we need to really evaluate IP as an audit. And this is all possible if you have finance people involved in IP. That's where the scope of chartered accountant and finance guys or finance professional is involved in IP. IP valuation. If you see Zomato's public issue, if you see Paytm's public issue, they were all based on the valuation of IP, valuation of technology, valuation of the business values or ideas behind that business values. IP valuation is going to be important. Like tomorrow or today, we'll have to do the reporting of intellectual property or intangibles which a company is owning it. I happened to see the balance sheet of Docomo, which is a Japanese telecom company, with Tata had a joint venture. And I saw the balance sheet. The fixed asset schedule was only of one single page, but their intangible asset schedule was running into 15-20 pages. And the whole company is valued on basis of technology, products, and the IP they are holding it. Now, let me tell you one thing very clearly. There are certain IPs which are registrable, but even there are IPs which are not registrable but still has a value. Your dealer network, your customer list, your vendor network, this is all an important IP. Data is going to become a big product, or it has already become a big product. That is why we have data analytics and data science, and that's where the artificial intelligence has come out as a technology. Data is going to be a huge business. It's already a big business. What is exactly Geo done? Geo has built up his own business model only because of data. He's not given anything free to you. He has never given a mobile free to you. He has never given an internet free to you, because he's taken data against you. There's a business called behavioral science outside India, behavioral patterns, which creates data. On Facebook, you do like or dislike. That is creating a huge database for Facebook. And he's dealing with that Facebook. Nothing is free in this world. The social media is not free for you. We have 50 million or more than 50 million WhatsApp subscribers in India. That gave the valuation of WhatsApp, is what WhatsApp is today. That's the economic and the commercial aspects of the IPR. IP valuation, it's going to, as I told you, it's going to be very, very huge things for coming in world. And an intangible asset is an identifiable non-monetary asset without physical substance, held for use in production or supply of goods or services for the rental to others or for administrative purpose. A total business done by Zomato or total business done by Swiggy, if you have to value, you take out the brand and see the business valuation, you will get it. That's what the valuation is going to play a role in intangible. It's everything going to be IP valuation. Paytm was also valued only on the basis of the technology and the IP which it was having it. I think I have dealt with this. This is, sorry, repeated. There are some case studies I would like to share with you. And these case studies I have picked up specifically from the finance and the commercial aspects of the IPR. Pliva and Pfizer synergy story. There was a company called Pliva in East Europe, which was an which was a pharmaceutical company, and they had filed for bankruptcy because they could not manage the business. And then we have a big giant multinational Pfizer situated in US. Pfizer wanted to launch a specific kind of antibiotic So they did a planning, they did a research that we have this product to be developed in R&D, which is going to take say 6 months to 8 months for a basic research, another 6 to 8 months for the development part. So 1.5 years will go in R&D. Then we will launch the product and we will see how it is responding. And based on that, we will start having a break even at the end of 2.5 years or on the 3rd year. Being a professionally managed company, everything was structured, process, everything, all the process and procedures followed. Board had a feasibility report of the product which they are going to launch. Everything was approved by the board. And then they said, fine, let us work it out on this. But when it comes to finance, the finance people are very, very sticky to release finance for the purpose of innovation. They said, fine, we will give the money as board has approved. We do not have any say to not give the money. But let's understand how much this product is likely to earn. Who's selling this type of product in the whole world? So they tried to find out and they stumbled up on the technology which Pliva was having it on the same thing. So they tried to study the balance sheet of Pliva. But they were surprised that Pliva has filed for the bankruptcy. So they were absolutely surprised what to do now. So they approached Pliva personally and said, why you have gone bankrupt? He said, it's the operational losses. We could not manage the business properly. It's not that we have failed in terms of technology. So then they asked, what are you going to do with? Pliva had the patent for the antibiotic which Pfizer wanted to launch. So Pfizer people asked to Pliva, what are you going to do with this technology or patent which you are having on this antibiotic? He said, we don't know. We have been successful in doing the research on this product and it was doing well, but we could not manage it. So that's where the finance people use their brain and say that, can you join hands with us? And Pliva formally, prima facie agreed for it. Pfizer people went back to the management. Finance people of Pfizer went back to the management. He said, why wait for 2.5 years? We can launch this product today itself or in another 2 months. Here's the technology available for you. We can do the further research based on the basic research which is available with this company. They tied up, they did the commercial joint venture type of an arrangement or mutual benefit sharing arrangement between both of them. And Pfizer launched that product in 6 months' time, where they were going to launch after 2.5 years. And that product was very successful. Today also, Pfizer has only from that product a sales only in US of $1 billion. And that product was azithromycin. Azithromycin was the drug and azithromycin was the brand which Pfizer launched, and Pfizer is running nicely. But that is not enough. What happened to Pliva is very important. Pliva had filed for bankruptcy. They were going to get wound up. Closer, tala laga diya tha unhone. Today, Pliva has become the biggest R&D company in US Europe. And they are doing research not only for Pfizer, but all the multinationals in Europe and US both. So that's the commercial and economic importance of IPR. Do you think this was possible without the finance people applying their mind? So that's where the role of chartered accountants comes in. I'll take one more example. I think so I have exceeded a time, but still, I will take a last 2 minutes to explain what happened in Kodak. I want to make one point to everybody that please respect somebody's IPR. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. Kodak had 3-4 engineers working with them in their R&D, who were the big brains. There were several people working in their R&D, but these 4-5 engineers were brain of that R&D department. They in 1990 came out with a concept. He said, today what is happening is that when we are clicking photos, we have to give photos. The technology of processing takes time, and you give photos on the next day evening, 24 hours के बाद हमको photo मिलता था. So they have developed a technology which is called instant camera technology. Click the photo and the processing will happen in 2 hours and you will get the photographs in 2 hours instead of 24 hours. Kodak rejected this idea. Kodak rejected this idea and they said that it's not possible. So these guys were very much optimistic about this technology. They quit Kodak. They themselves did the development part of that basic research, and then they launched the instant camera technology. And that was doing very well. Kodak came to know about it, that these were the engineers who were working with us. And now, but we didn't support them. They have started their product. Fine, no problem. Kodak also started manufacturing without respecting that other 4 people's IP. Now, these 4 people had no choice. But Kodak was a giant. So he said, now we will either get destroyed. So one of the engineers said that, are we going to get survived also otherwise? Now there's no option. Either you fight with Kodak or you get perished before that. So he said that in either case we are going to get finished. So why not we fight with Kodak and see what best we can do out of it? And they took that risk. They filed an infringement suit against Kodak in 14 different countries. They had lost almost all the pennies and savings which they had for their survival. But at the end of the tunnel, there was a light for them. 3 years the litigation went on and they won the matter. They won the matter in all the 14 countries in 3 years' time. Kodak was made to pay a huge amount to the extent of, say, more than $300 million as damages to that company. That is not enough. What destroyed Kodak? That these courts which ruled against Kodak said that you have not respected somebody's IP. You sold that product, even you were knowing that there was a patent on that. You call back for all those cameras which you have sold, and whatever money you will get, you will share 50% of that with the patent holder. So they get even additional amount. And the whole business of Kodak in camera was destroyed. So friends, I would say respect somebody's IP. And that other company which survived was Polaroid. Yeah. So before I conclude formally, I would just say that in today's knowledge economy, strong IP system can help economies on the path of growth and prosperity. As Joseph Scumter, the biggest economist, says that profit is written on successful innovation. So for the chartered accountants, this is the jargon that profit is written on successful innovation if you are commercially and economically involved in IPR. This is what I had to share. I would like to conclude my session. I had a lot of things to share, but because of limitation of time, I have to be a little bit fast. I'm sorry. Thank you very much to Rajkumar ji and to the Institute of Chartered Accountants for giving me this opportunity to share my experience on this subject for which I am really passionate for the last 20 years. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, for the knowledge that you have shared with us, sir. We are enlightened with lots of knowledge in the second session also in the VCM being organized by CP Committee of ICI on the topic role of chartered accountants in intellectual property laws for business values enhancement. Sir, in this session, we have come to know so many things, starting from what is intellectual property, importance of copyright as an IP, especially after knowing that the same has contributed as high as 5% of total GDP of Singapore. Music industry, performance IP, we have come to know we pay for the music that we enjoy in a restaurant also. Sir, we came to know punchline is also subject to trademark like Just Do It by Nike people, how tele people have used IP and taken benefits from the same. Sir, we have come to know a role of an IP in business plan. Also, we came to know the coverage about branding in Reliance annual report, what is IP valuation, etc., etc. Also, sir, we came to know importance of an IP by way of examples that you gave of Plivia and Pfizer, where the company which were about to log has become not only, which has not only survived, but also become financially most sound and successful. Sir, we are indeed thankful to you for the knowledge that you have shared with us.
It's my
On
pleasure.
behalf of
My pleasure.
ICI and all the members who are present over here, I propose hearty vote of thanks to you, sir. On a concluding part, sir, just a minute, sir. On a concluding part, I would like to mention that both of our eminent speakers have talked very well about the above mentioned two topics, which were of highly importance in the professional interest. Sir, I'm sure all the members who are present here are benefited a lot from the knowledge and informations which are shared by both of you. This was a new vision opening VCM. Normally we know something is eye opening VCM. This is not eye opening, this is vision opening VCM for all of us and will be useful as an avenue in personal professional development. At the same time, it will be of highly useful for betterment of our export and development of our economy. Again, I, C.S. Sanjay Lakhani, moderator of today's VCM, propose hearty vote of thanks to both the speakers, and we are hopeful of taking benefit of your knowledge in future also. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for the knowledge that you have shared with us, sir. That's all for the day. We conclude the VCM with this.
Sir, you can now leave the meeting. Meeting is over.